Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. Also, welcome to another video of me sitting in this hot ass garage because it is the middle of summer. And I want to talk movies so badly, I'm willing to put myself through this intense heat being in this hot ass box in here as I just try to get through this thing before the end, by which time I might have melted in front of your very eyes like a snow cone in hell. But that's okay, because I'm here to talk about a classic from 1963 from director Don Chaffey, who brought us classics like 1 Million Years BC, Pete's Dragon, The Viking Queen. Right now, I want to get into the 1963 classic, Jason and the Argonauts. The film stars Todd Armstrong as the title character and our main protagonist, Jason. Todd Armstrong did quite a bit of TV back in the 50s and 60s. He appeared in shows like Hawaii Five-O. He was in Gunsmoke. He was in a show called Manhunt, but I understand that he was primarily known and remembered for this movie, for this role of Jason, leader of the Argonauts. But I gotta say, it's a guy wearing, brown face, which, I know nowadays wouldn't fly, but given how this came out in the early 60s, it does kind of rub me the wrong way thinking, that, I don't know, maybe the part could have went to like a Cesar Romero or a Fernando Lamas, because, they weren't really giving away good parts to Latin actors, but there were some Latin actors out there doing their thing. There was Desi Arnaz. Well, I don't know how he would have did in this part, but somebody like that would have been cool. But either way, Todd Armstrong. It was the '60s, so brownface was pretty big at the time. Just look at West Side Story. Also in the film, in the role of the villain, you have English actor Douglas Wilmer, who can be seen in films like The Brides of Fu Manchu and The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and does a very good job in this film as the character of Pelias. You also have playing the love interest, the character of Medea. No, not that Medea, it's a different Medea. Actress Nancy Kovac, who can be seen in, she was in Strangers When We Meet with Kirk Douglas, and she's also in Diary of a Madman with Vincent Price. She's pretty good as character of Medea. And you also have Honor Blackman from that classic 1960s show, The Avengers. It's a different Avengers. And of course, one of the best Bond girls in the classic 1964 film, Goldfinger. And yeah, she does a great job in the role of Hera throughout the film. The story of the film is loosely based on a Greek poem from 3rd century BC, the Argonautica, written by Apollonius Rhodius, which was the inspiration for the screenplay of the film written by Jan Red and Beverly Cross. They do deviate a bit from the source material, but the overall gist of the story is pretty much intact. The very beginning of the film, the king of Thessaly is slain by Pelias, who just wants to rule and take over everything. And so there is a prophecy made. For those of you out there that know a bit about Greek mythology, you might know this already, but for those that don't, Hera was the goddess of women, childbirth. She was the wife of Zeus, also the sister of Zeus. In the film, Hera does kind of prophesize the return of the son of the slain king of Thessaly, and he's going to come back with one sandal. And sure enough, this dude shows up and saves the life of Pelias at the beginning of the film. I have to admit, this part of the movie always kind of bothers me because Jason was gone for 20 years for his protection because Pelias vowed to kill not just the king of Thessaly, but anyone that could come back for revenge. Even kills Jason's sister in the beginning of the film. But yeah, 20 years go by. The prophecy is, made that the one sandal man comes around, he's your guy. And when he does see the one sandal man turns out to be Jason, what does he do? Pretty much nothing. Just kind of lets him go because without that, we wouldn't have a movie. In order to take back his land and his people and the throne overall, Jason must recover a magical golden fleece and set on a voyage, an adventure with a new boat and a new crew of men, among them Hercules and a bunch of other guys that are just old man buff. You know that old man buff where guys had like those like chicken wing shoulder blades and just really kind of bony chests and all that. For the most part, the character of Jason is tough, smart, and resourceful, but every now and then he gets himself and his men in a bit of a jam and does require a bit of help from above, from the gods. So every now and then, Hera kind of helps him out with her magic behind Zeus's back. But if you take a look at the Greek poem in the source material, you'll see that a lot of what Hera does in the film for Jason in terms of the way she helps him out using her magic, a lot of that stuff is actually Medea. And so her character, Nancy Kovac's character, was shortchanged in that way, kind of reduced to just more of a mere love interest who helps Jason at times, but not in the way that she actually did in the poem. So yeah, a lot of that business mainly given to Honor Blackman's character, Hera. I'm guessing because maybe her star was on the rise, maybe she was a bit bigger than actress Nancy Kovac. That's just my own little assumption. All that aside, in the end, this is really the Ray Harryhausen show because you watch these kinds of movies not really for the great dialogue because as okay as it is, it's not the dialogue that we watch these movies for. It's not the semi love story because it's not much of a love story. It's some woman that just tags along on the voyage. And so yeah, not much of a love story and not Shakespearean level dialogue, but you have some awesome special effects for 1963. And Ray Harryhausen movies never disappoint in that department. Ever since stuff like Mighty Joe Young from the 40s, and when he gets into, the later years with movies like this, or, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, or later on Clash of the Titans, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, or 1,000,000 Years BC starring Raquel Welch, or Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. If it had Ray Harryhausen's name on it, it's worth checking out. Especially this movie right here. It's no exception. Amazing stop motion animation. You got a great sequence involving our hero fighting a seven-headed hydra, one of the highlights of the film. A great sequence involving the king of the sea, Poseidon, rising up to push apart a couple of mountains for our heroes to kind of sail their boat through. Really, really cool moment. Looks awesome to this day. You also have an awesome scene with our heroes taking on an army of skeletons with swords and shields. Still looks really, really cool for 1963. And on top of that, you have a great music score from the legendary Bernard Herrmann, the man who composed music for classics like Citizen Kane, Psycho, Cape Fear. Yeah, overall, pretty decent story. Not crazy about the end, but if you do your research and find out how the story actually ends, it would have been more of a, depressing, sad ending. And I do understand why they end the movie at that point in the story where they do. Had they had told the whole story, for one, the film would have been entirely too long, and number two, the film would have had a much darker and sadder ending. But imagine if you would have taken the movie Braveheart and ended it right after the Battle of Stirling. It would have been a different vibe at that ending, right? So yeah, entirely different kind of movie, different time period and all that, but still, you get a sense of what I'm saying here. They didn't tell you the whole story, and maybe it's okay. Maybe you don't need to know unless you do your own research for yourself. But either way, the film is still a classic, really fun time. I give it 3 stars. Jason and the Argonauts. It's a film you can find on streaming. You guys know me though. I'm a hard copy guy. I got my DVD right here of this classic. I do enjoy a good sword and sandals flick every now and then, and if you do as well, I do recommend you check this out, Jason and the Argonauts. Thank you all very much for watching this classic movie review. I always appreciate it. If you're into the classics, if you're into movies, if you're into this kind of thing, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications for more reviews coming out soon. If you're a returning viewer, I thank you for your reviews and your support. I do appreciate it. Please don't forget to comment, share, like, always helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next classic movie review. Everybody take care of each other. Till next time, peace out. God bless.